Hello, everyone. On today's show, I am so excited to be interviewing Val. Val is a recent graduate of Corporate Women Unleashed. She is the director of marketing for a large global company and had come into our program looking for greater balance in her life. She was finding herself working many a long hour, or at least bringing a lot of work home with her, and just not having the time to connect with her kiddos and really do other things that she wanted to do in her life. So like so many of us, it was time to reflect and redesign, and she's done an amazing job. So Val, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you.
Of course.
Excited for you to share your journey and kind of where you were at and, where you're at now, because I think so many of us corporate women, especially as we climb the ladder, get to a point where we look around and say, hey, I've achieved a lot. This is supposed to be a little bit more fun. What's going on, right? So maybe just start off and tell us where were you, and then where are you at now? Like, what's the outcome of the result after the program?
Yeah, I think the first time we spoke, Kate, it was, well, let me take a step back. Thanks for having me on here and for helping me through this journey, because it's been so rewarding. In fact, I was about ready to start to tear up. I'm thinking this is going to be the call Kate and I have where I don't cry. But I think that was just it. When I started and had my first conversation with you, I was searching for something, and I was always felt like I needed to achieve more, and I wasn't understanding when I made those achievements why I didn't feel good. And so I think that first time we talked, I'm like so focused on those achievements, and yet there was big parts of me that I wanted to spend more time with my kids. I would spend time with them because I knew that I needed to spend time with them, but I wasn't mentally with them. I wasn't enjoying that time. And so I just felt guilty. I felt, I just didn't, I'm like, is this really the next 2 decades or 3 decades of what my career is going to be like, what my life's going to be like? And so our first conversation and me being a part of this group has really totally changed those feelings, and changed, I would say, how even my family views me, how my husband has even said, he goes, you just seem so much calmer and you seem happier than I did when I started. So that's been one of the biggest, I guess, wins for me, is for them to see it in me. I feel it, but they see it as well.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love it. Okay. So one of the things that you had mentioned when you first came in the program was that connection piece with your girls. So we should tell everyone that you're the family breadwinner. I mean, your husband works as well, but I work with a lot of women who are the breadwinners because you feel like you have a little fewer options, right? It's kind of on you. And one of the things you were worried about, you said, Kate, I don't want this to be a trade-off. In other words, am I going to have to give up everything I've created and everything we've achieved in order to be happy or, balanced and calmer? So can you speak to that a little bit? I mean, do you feel like there's been a trade-off, or what would you say now?
Yeah, I remember, I think one of the examples I gave you is, my husband is willing to do those things that you might quote unquote say that a mom should do. I mean, he would plan a birthday party. He would do any of those things. But as I told him, I'm like, I want to be the mom. I mean, for me as a mom, I want to plan those things. That's one of the things that brings me joy. And I just couldn't find the time, and I couldn't find the energy and the mental. I just did it as part of a task, a to-do list, not out of joy and out of fun for doing that. And so since this program, I've learned, one is, you challenged me to take some pretty big things for me in terms of taking time off of work, missing a couple different work events that really weren't that important in the big scheme of things. So that one day I took my daughter on her birthday, and we went to a pottery class, and I spent my time painting pottery, not on my email, waiting for her to get done painting her pottery. And so had a great time. And I have that pottery now at home it's a great reminder for me of how great that can be. And at the end of that day, I committed to 1 hour of doing emails that day, and I had it scheduled into at what part I was going to do that. And nothing bad happened. And so that was the beginning. That was early on, and that was the beginning of me just you helping me prove to myself that it's not a trade-off, and that if I understand what I need and I make choices based on those needs, I actually feel better.
Yes. Yes. Oh, I love it. No, I love it. And I remember that was very early on.
Yeah.
What was great about that example too, that you just gave, is that, like you said, you had a purposeful hour that you knew you would step away from emails, but your daughter knew it. You set that expectation with her. So she wasn't like, Mom, where have you gone? You went and did them. You were committed, you got off, and then you went right back to her. And so it was very, your career but also your day as a mom was in control.
Right. Yeah. She was just as happy to get on Instagram and check out what was going on in her world too. So it worked out perfect.
Everybody's happy. So I was like,
exactly.
Cool.
Exactly.
Well, I think another thing that women struggle with, and I know this is really common, and this was one of the challenges that we gave you in the first few weeks of the program, is to do something for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, again, as women who are, so committed to our career and super successful and achievers, we forget that we actually used to be women and have, other things that we love to do. So, so how is that for you now? I mean, are you finding that you're now able to not only go from work to family, connect with family, but also find a little bit of time for yourself and not feel so guilty about it?
Mm-hmm. I am. And I would say, it's not like it's easy every single day, but you've given me some different tools that work for me and my schedule. So I have a process on my way home of things I think about and a few extra minutes that I've kind of built into my day that help me transition from that. And that's been huge. And I would say that one of the things that really helped is you were flexible with me, or not flexible, you gave me different ideas. So when I came to you and said, okay, this isn't working for me, you're like, okay, I want you to do this then on your way home. And I'm like, okay, well, I have a commute, so I have time. I can think about that on my way home. And so I've integrated those habits into my day that help me. So when I get home, I am more engaged and I'm more mentally there. In terms of doing stuff for me, I find myself, sometimes I slip back into that, always reading and studying and trying to learn more, because I love learning and growing. But I kind of put a goal for myself. I love to read. And so to read things that are just for fun, because I think my first assignment was I read, with a glass of wine, in my pajamas. And it was just, it was great. I laughed, I cried, I had a great time. I was by myself. It was a good time.
That's awesome. I know. I love that. And we were all cheering you on too. It was so great.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So one of the things that you did, I think is really cool, because this is, the Corporate Women Unleashed is a holistic program. We do help you balance all the different areas of your life through and do some career exploration. And one of the things that I think you were kind of up against is, am I having a midlife crisis when it comes to my career? And you and your husband also did some interesting things with the needs map. So can you talk a little bit about how you use the needs map to sort of look at your own career, and then also what you and Tracy did, which was pretty interesting because he's got a unique career as well.
Yeah. So for me personally, one of the things that I learned in this course was what my needs are, what are the things that I need. And then I've also learned that my career fits and serves some of those needs, but that's not the only way for me to meet some of those needs. So I'm finding that I'm actually just in a great space within my work and my career, because I'm understanding what the purpose of and where my needs are met at work. But I'm also really realizing in some of the exploration and some of the things that you taught me, Kate, is that there's all these other opportunities where I can meet my needs outside of work, whether that's nonprofit boards or just other organizations that I can share some of my skills and some of my talents with. And by doing that, it's not just another thing that I'm doing to check a list to, move up the corporate ladder or to put on my resume. I'm doing it, and I realize why I'm doing it, because I'm doing it purposefully because it meets some of these other needs. And so that's been huge for me. And I use that as I make decisions. And I think that's what Tracy and I were doing, as we were looking at some of the things he was considering doing, is if he was to his decisions, how would that impact our family, and how would it impact these different needs that we have? And so we talked through those and kind of just threw out wild options that we could have if we were going to do something like that. And in the end, we decided not to do it. But the whole conversation and the process of it was just, it gave us confidence, and it's still scary, but I guess we knew as a result of what we learned from this course that we had this decision process. And so we had followed that, and we were confident in that piece of it.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it. That's really what that needs map is designed to do, because so often we make decisions based on things that don't really help us balance our needs. And then we get to that place, whether it's a new career, moving your family, changing your kids' schools, like whatever it is. And then all of a sudden we're like, oh, why is this not great? Why is this not the good life? This was supposed to be the good life. And it's because we went unknowingly too far away from what our true needs were. And we ended up tipping ourselves off balance. Or like you said, we're putting all of our energy into the one need, which is the career, the security piece. And we're forgetting that we have all these other things that we're supposed to be paying attention to because we never learned how.
Right.
Yeah. I love that. Well, and I love what you and Tracy, and I love that you were able to get your husband involved in that too. And use that.
Yeah.
That's cool. Awesome. Okay. So, what brought you to CW specifically? Like where were you at that led you to sort of like, I need to do something?
Yeah. I think I was surfing on Facebook, and a video of yours popped up, and I saw it, and I just was at that, I suppose, desperation seems strong, but I was just at that point where it resonated with me, and your message hit me in terms of that's exactly how I feel. And so being a part of this group made me realize, one, meeting you made me realize that I'm not the only one, but then being part of this group, I realized that there's lots of us that feel this way, and that together and sharing our experiences and learning from each other gave you confidence and helped, it's been fun. We've had a good time. So that's the best part.
Awesome. Yes, we have had a good time. Okay. So let's wrap up. Anything, any advice you would want to give another corporate woman out there, a corporate mom who's struggling, feeling stuck, feeling off balance, anything you'd like to share?
I guess there would be two things. One, from a career standpoint, I think, Kate, you help me just see it broader and bigger. And I even see, as I talk to people at work, we talk about, I've said, there's a lot of different ways for us to meet our needs, and it's not always the way it's, kind of portrayed in the movies of how you're supposed to do that. And, had these conversations with other people. So I think that's been great, and it's really added to my authenticity as a leader. This, in terms of with my girls, which is a lot of what I started with when we started talking about how I could be more connected with them. We started talking about feelings, and now it's a joke and a laugh, but we're talking about feelings. And so I love that they're kind of making fun of me, but they're making fun of me, and we're having a conversation. And just how much engagement I must be in the conversation. So I'm not just listening to them talk and thinking about work. We're having this conversation. They're giving me a hard time, and we're talking about our feelings. So it's fun. It's turned that time together into being a meaningful conversation, but also being a fun time that when we're together.
I love it. And didn't you share with me, like, there was one Saturday that your daughter, because normally Saturday's like Aaron's day, and we're always like trying to catch up.
Yep.
For the work week. And didn't you like host a play date? Like, you were just mom for the whole Saturday. You did the play date, cakes, like the whole thing, right?
Yes, we did. And it was really, and I'm like, okay, I'll just go run errands in the afternoon. And the further we went along, I'm like, you know what? No, we're just going to do it. And we had a great time, and it all worked out. And I guess we ate that week. It all worked out. So
I love it.
Yeah. Some of it's just proven to myself that it's going to be okay. And so just trying it.
Yeah. And that your career is not going to implode if you step away to go be with your family, or you don't check your email at 3 a.m. or you're fully, yeah.
I actually feel as a leader, I feel like I'm a better leader after this program than I was before because of that, because they have families and friends that they want to have lives. And so I'm setting a better example.
I love it. Yes. I love it.
Which is awesome.
That is awesome. Cool. Yeah. Well, Val, you have been an absolute wonderful, wonderful participant in the program, absolute rock star. You've made some major shifts in, you know, again, how you approach your career, how you think about it, but also in how you're getting to engage in your family and fill your cup and actually say, look, now this is the good life, you know?
Yeah.
Yes. I love it.
It's been wonderful. Thank you, Kate. And
yeah.
the connections and what we learn from each other is amazing.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's awesome. So thank you so much. I appreciate you doing this, and maybe we'll check in with you down the road and see where you're at that point. So I appreciate you, Val.
Thanks, Kate. Thank you.